if the caregiver says, we know that people in your situation react better with this level of activity or this level of care or this way to manage the meds, I think that is going to make it easier for staffers.
Welcome to Season 8 of Bridge the Gap, a podcast dedicated to informing, educating, and influencing the future of housing and services for seniors. The BTG network is powered by sponsors Align, NICMAP, ProCare HR, Sage, Hamilton CapTel, ServiceMaster, the Bridge Group Construction, and Solinity, and produced by Solinity Marketing.
Bridge the Gap in 3, 2. Welcome to Bridge the Gap podcast, the senior living podcast with Josh and Lucas. We have a great returning guest on and a wonderful topic you're going to want to lean in on. Welcome our friend and wonderful sponsor, Dave Blanchard at Hamilton CapTel. Welcome back to the program.
Hey, how's it going, man? Good to see you.
You know, we have such great memories, the National Leading Age, where we got to squat in your booth there, the wonderful Hamilton CapTel booth. We had great setup, great lighting. We had some great guests and got to interact with your team. The Hamilton CapTel team has been a wonderful sponsor of Bridge the Gap for so many years to helping bring our educational content to the industry. We really appreciate that. And so you're coming off the back of another state show for Leading Age. And today we're going to be talking about how technology is transforming the senior living space. Tell us more about some of the conversations that you've recently been having around the topic of tech.
It's funny, our technology has been around for a long time. And so the last few years, we've really changed our approach to try and be a thought leader or almost expose like what's going on in the world of tech as it relates to taking care of people, whether it's in their home or in communities. And that has paid dividends, I think, for us and for the people that we talk to every day. It's great to have, I totally agree with you on the Leading Age national scene. What a great show, fantastic interaction with people. Who's not fired up to go to Nashville, right? So it's a great city for a great venue, for a great event that talks about what are we going to do next. And that was the vibe I picked up in Nashville is everybody's wondering what's going to be next as far as infrastructure, as far as technology, as far as creating a backbone in your community to make sure that you've got the ability to offer whatever products and services necessary to take care of people in the new world order where technology actually meets up with caregiving. And I'm seeing the light break open a little bit where it's way less salty for staffers who don't understand technology. I'm seeing caregivers actually start to embrace and say, I can't wait for the day we've got a robust system. They might not be using words like that, but a robust system to make sure that the things I do every day as far as quality interaction with seniors are augmented with technology. And maybe I don't have to verify that Gene didn't wake up this morning because a sensor will pick that up and I'll get a notification. And so will the kids get a notification that Gene's out of bed. And what great peace of mind that is, taking away those tactical things that needed to occur in the past and making them less prominent in the day-to-day and really focusing on the quality interaction between residents and caregivers. And that's a new thing for the caregivers. When we're doing installations, we're seeing much less resistance from the caregiver staff to say, I can't wait for you to put this stuff in because it just makes my life easier and makes my relationship better with the folks we're taking care of every day.
You know, I love hearing that. And I think that in years past, some of the apprehension or maybe some hesitation on this type level of technology is that the gripe has been, technology is going to replace people. But it sounds like from what I'm hearing you say is that technology is actually going to allow for the people that are doing this work, this challenging work, to do their jobs better. Is that what I'm hearing?
That's exactly what I'm hearing too. And from the time frame of Nashville in October, and I was just at Leading Age Minnesota, which was a fantastic show, by the way. 3,500 plus attendees at this thing. I took a hilarious shot we put on social media. This mountain of down jackets in the middle of this trade show, because everybody checks their coat in Minnesota. And so it was like 5 degrees, but man, the conversations were so much more connected with people creating plans and being able to communicate what the plans are using layman's terms to embrace technology and actually have it a known part of the plan moving forward, not just in the executive room of a community, but actually in the caregiver level and the resident level, where everybody embraces this as this is going to help absolutely everyone in the equation, from residents themselves, from family influencers, from the caregivers, all the way up to the main office in every community in the country, because this is what's going to make it easier to care for more people and do it well.
Well, and I think that, in a age and a space where, costs are being heavily looked at from an operator standpoint, because yes, you have to provide that great care. You have to provide that great place to live, but it's also a business, and there, everyone is feeling the constraints of inflation and a lot of other parameters that are causing costs to go up. Insurance is a big one that I hear people talking about. We all feel it. Do you see technology as a way? Yes, it's a cost, but do you see technology as a way of coming in to help alleviate some of those costs, or maybe some of that back end, just that constant rework or the time that it takes to, I don't know, do, paperized things, or just these kind of tasks that can be taken away so that people can do their jobs more effectively? Do you think that cost can be impacted by technology?
I think so. I know that in talking to like executive director types, that there's a capital investment to make sure that the technology backbone, if you talk to folks at Direct Supply, they talk about making sure that that backbone is strong, that it's resilient, that it's redundant, that it's reliable, and that it's safe, right? And so that hackers can't get into it. Something as simple as setting up a virtual private network in everybody's apartment, so you don't really see the devices that live there. But taking care of life in a community from a dashboard of sorts, and knowing that there's an easy portal to see what's going on with every single resident, that's transformative. But having to embrace that capital cost up front, the payback is going to come over years, and it's really going to change our industry. And the transition from Leading Age Nashville in October to just this week in Minnesota, I'm floored by the embrace of people coming up and using the words that we've been using about, like, how do we fight isolation? How do we keep people from being isolated in their homes? You can't just watch TV all the time. Well, let's get on the phone. Let's connect via text. Let's do FaceTime videos. In order to make all those things happen, we've got to have that system, that backbone that's going to support all that, and make it easier to know that from the front office perspective, people are being taken care of. People are being more active. People are engaging with content that's meaningful. And, we've been talking about isolation for 30 years, especially with individuals with hearing loss. And it's kind of a new day in supporting people the right way so that their lives can change for the better. And it's so simple for them because finally, the interfaces of technology are being created with seniors in mind. It's very easy to put things, it's very easy to interact with voice first technology. I won't say it out loud because there's one sitting right here on my table. Being able to interact using your voice is a transformative thing. If you want scripture, if you want the weather, if you want whatever you're looking for, Grandma and Grandpa can have all of that without having to learn something new. They just need to speak into it. And I think from a front office perspective, supporting seniors in such a way that this isn't a scary thing. Like, you never would have gotten my 93-year-old mom to use any technology. The only word she heard was virus. I'm gonna get one of them viruses. I can't do that. So now with people, it's such a part of life. All the grandkids are bringing technology to grandma and grandpa's, right? And so the ease at which they use it, because they've lived their entire lives using it, I think has disarmed it for seniors. And now that the boomer gen is really moving into a spot where they're starting to become a larger part of life in senior living communities, they're bringing that knowledge of technology forward, and it's going to be a much easier road for embracing technology moving forward. And I think that's a fantastic thing.
With technology improving, obviously that brings a lot of data, and data brings visibility. How do you think a new layer or level of visibility impacts the relationship from the provider to the resident, and then also the provider to the adult family member? So maybe the adult daughter or the adult son that wants to stay connected, but they live on the East Coast and mom or dad is on the West Coast. How do you think that visibility changes those relationships?
I think it adds confidence for the caregiver level or whoever's reporting that data. Everybody's talking AI now, right? So that's in every sentence of every show, of every session that was at Leading Age Minnesota and in Nashville at the national level too. So from the provider to the resident, being able to cite data from others in similar spots, I think will be invaluable. So it's not unique to this person, kind of an everybody's doing it kind of a dialogue with the residents. And from the provider to the family, you can confidently report that mom's getting out of bed at 8 o'clock every day. You can start to aggregate, and that's not different from other residents. That's, I think, the power of data, is it shows that I'm not unique here, even though this is a family's first time with a mom or a dad in care, that there are others experiencing exactly the same. And I think the peace that brings to family influencers is going to go so far in the relationship between communities, and whether you live up the street or you live on the East Coast. I think that's going to build bridges to a great relationship and actually a better experience overall in the community, because of the confidence that you'll be able to report what's actually happening based on statistics and real data. It's not a subjective description to the family of what's happening. Because, we know some seniors can be salty, some seniors can be resistant and say things like, I'm not talking to anybody, I'm not getting the guidance that they say they're giving me. And to be able to report that confidently, I think that's going to change the dialogue for a long time.
How does that also impact the relationship with the community staff and the resident when we're dealing with an aging adult that has its own set of challenges? How does this data and visibility change that care relationship?
Again, I think if the caregiver says, we know that people in your situation react better with this level of activity or this level of care or this way to manage the meds, I think that is going to make it easier for staffers to, I could see the day where training is coming on how to use these dashboards and the data reporting better and leverage that better, so that somebody that maybe isn't college educated can easily embrace what's going on with the reporting that's coming out of an AI-based dashboard on what's really happening in the four walls of this community. And that I think will be transformative again. Like, what else is possible? And I can't emphasize enough, I'm so floored by the different conversations from Nashville to St. Paul. And the difference I just felt the last 3 days at a show, and the way the sessions were aligned and what the topics are, I'm floored at the acceleration of the embrace of all this. And I think the benefits will just go from the top to the bottom in every organization.
If there's anybody that understands isolation, it's Dave, and it's Hamilton CapTel. So on the topic of isolation, how do you think technology is going to impact that in particular?
I had the great fortune to go to CES this year in Vegas. So I got to see the Delta CEO in the Sphere. It was super weird talking to robots. It was, but to wrap it up in a bow, it was the technology role is going to be so important moving forward. There's to mitigate the number of caregivers that exist today, and to keep the next generation of caregivers interested. If the next generation of caregivers could have gone to CES and see what's next, like, man, standing in front of a mirror at the Withings booth, and all I'm doing, I'm standing there barefoot on this pad, and it's a full-length mirror as tall as I am. And all of a sudden, the statistics start coming up. Your blood pressure is this. Your body mass index is this. Dave, we think you should do that. Having a plan based on AI and the actual stats of what's happening today, these kind of easy interfaces that are cool, I think will attract the next generation of caregivers, because there is fantastic things going on, from figuring out how to clean your pool to manage your weight, to target health from upper body to lower body, and being able to put that in terms that a senior would understand is like, in order to get out of the chair, you have to make sure your core at least operates. And they can do that now because they can identify the strength in your core through some of these interfaces that nobody even touches you. It's literally mom or dad steps up on a pad and you get a plan and you can work that plan. And that was so inspiring, I think, for me, having been in the industry now for a while, that to look at absolutely what's next is just mind-blowing. And I can't wait to see it start to roll out at shows like Leading Edge at the national level or at the state level.
Well, we're definitely looking forward to that. What a great conversation. This is one that is ever changing, and it's moving at such a fast pace. I think that, through 2020, 2021, the industry was forced to take leaps into the technology space. And we're seeing, I think, some of the growth and the impact of that kind of, unfortunately, a forced need for introducing major technology into a space that has been relatively slow to adopt. This is a people business, and I think it always will be, and that's so important. But it's great to have a conversation to see how technology can come aside all of these great people that are doing their work to help them, what I believe is really focus on their strengths. And ultimately, one of your big passions around isolation, it's going to positively impact and really take on the challenge of isolation around older adults, which is so meaningful. Final thoughts, Dave.
I couldn't agree more. Fighting isolation now, our company's been doing that for 30 years. And it's interesting when you see the influencers in the market, like when we go to shows, the people that know this technology, that embrace this technology, that are talking about it the loudest, they're the ones that are becoming the leaders in the dialogue it's going to take to make sure that care of elders is amazing moving forward. And, so having provided services for so long with us, we continue to see the need grow as the boomer generation continues to expand and require care. And the way to handle that growth, I think, is the true embrace of technology, to not be afraid of it and absorb as much as you can in those sessions at Leading Edge, at those sessions at any industry trade show you go to. Learn something about it and disarm it, or get the grandkids and the kids involved. And man, they can talk about it like my kiddo is going to college. He's 20, and he's like, Dad, you got to really jump on board with this whole thing. And having that encouragement behind me, I've been able to absorb enough to try and be that thought leader to say, embrace it and grab it and let's do something with it, because the future may not be the Jetsons quite yet, with robot maids and flying cars. But oh my gosh, I can't wait for everybody to see what's next. It's really going to be spectacular for the industry.
Great conversation. I couldn't agree more. Dave Blanchard, Hamilton CapTel, a great industry thought leader, passionate servant to this community, and a big supporter and sponsor of the Bridge the Gap podcast and the network. We can't thank you enough. Thank you for your time today, Dave.
Absolutely. Thanks a lot, Lucas. Always great to see you.
And to all of our listeners, we appreciate your support in listening to our network. You can go to btgvoice.com, download this content and so much more. You can listen to past episodes with Dave and also the Hamilton CapTel crew. If you're interested in learning more, go to the show notes, connect with them. And thanks for listening to another great episode of Bridge the Gap.
Thanks for listening to Bridge the Gap podcast with Josh and Lucas. Connect with the BTG Network team and use your voice to influence the industry by connecting with us at btgvoice.com.